It's the Rob Carson Show. Are you ready to be pod-smacked? Now, here's Rob Carson.
Hello, and welcome to episode number 157 of the show. And we've got quite a show today for you. It's divided up into several categories. It's almost like a Jeopardy show. We've got hurricane news. We've got things that are being banned or removed. A little bit of political. And then just a hodgepodge of a bunch of really fun stories. So we're going to get to all that in just a second. Do want to thank our sponsors, particularly Dr. Alex Nelson, Fountain of Life Chiropractic.com. They take care of a boatload of athletes, professional or otherwise, police, firefighters, first responders. They can always come in, talk directly to Dr. Nelson and his associates. If you just want to swing by, the office is 8335 North Congress Avenue in Kansas City. Just ask for Dr. Alex. If he's not busy, he'll come right out and talk to you. FountainofLifeChiro.com, FountainofLifeChiro.com. The number is 816-741-4711, 816-741-4711, FountainofLifeChiro.com. In Raytown, there's a really cool lawnmower place. And it is, it's called Grass Monsters, GrassMonstersInc.com. They sell American-made mowers and trimmers, and they service them, okay? One of the mowers they sell is the Dixie Chopper line. They've got the Classic, they've got the Silver Eagle, which I have in my garage, the Black Hawk, the Excalibur, the Z2, which is a residential mower that is built like nothing you've ever seen before. As far as a high-quality mower, you will not believe how great these mowers are. They also sell these wonderful mowers made in Kansas called Hustlers. I see them all the time on the back of, on behind trucks, commercial mowing operations. I see Hustlers all the time. Of course, part of it has to do with I live in Kansas. Anyway, GrassMonstersKC.com. GrassMonsterKC.com. They're on Raytown Road and Raytown Mo. And they're awesome. They absolutely are. All right, let's get started. Let's talk a little bit about the hurricane. There's been a lot of stuff happening with the hurricane. I understand that Houston has just surpassed its all-time rain record. I think it's 49, almost 50 inches of snow. It's unbelievable. The tragedy is epic. One of the cool things that I have noticed is how people are coming together and helping. Just really, really cool. Hundreds of people are turning up to help in Houston. Just with their boats. Coming from Louisiana and other places, too.
Ross and I were talking. He said they needed help getting people off the overpass at 517. I brought my truck and trailer. I was going to start moving people out, helping to move people. It took me 2 hours to get there. Well, all of our great neighbors, our great first responders kicked in, and they've been moving people left and right.
I just try to save people that are stuck in their homes.
3527 Oak, nursing home. Nursing home, 3527 Oak.
Just got to look out for everybody. It's overwhelming, the amount of rain. It's too much for the first responders. They need help.
Yeah. And I tell you what, just the amount of people who are helping is remarkable. The very best in people is being seen in Houston. When Katrina struck, we saw the opposite of that. From the top down. Jesse Waters on Fox News apparently fell for a prank. There was a photoshopped a picture of a guy driving down the street, and beside him in the flooded street is the silhouette of a shark. Well, apparently that was fake.
I've seen some amazing things out there just looking at television over the weekend. Alligators on people's back doorsteps. I saw a shark on a highway swimming in the water. Like Sharknado. I saw a hawk sitting in someone's taxi cab. Greg and I were saying, the president was using the term biblical. Mm-hmm. Well, there's some really weird biblical things that are going on down there in Houston. I can't even imagine how I would be experiencing that as a guy from the Northeast, but I think Texas has it figured out.
Yeah, Jesse, sharks can't live in fresh water. That's the only thing. All right. Oh, I have a montage somebody actually sent. And let's go ahead and play that, and then we'll get into some serious content.
Hurricane Harvey slammed into the Texas coast.
See the damage here in downtown Houston as this storm has just continued to pound their neighborhood.
Floodwaters are still rising in Houston and its suburbs.
Everything started floating, and we picked up what we could to try to save it, but it didn't do no good because the water just took over everything.
They need your help right now in Texas.
Flooding will only worsen in the coming days. About 25 inches more rain could fall, in addition to about 25 inches that has already come down.
Texas has never seen a disaster like Hurricane Harvey.
Unbelievable.
When is the rain going to stop? 30,000 people will need to take shelter because of Harvey.
They were rescued by Good Samaritans.
I thank God!
There you go. So that's the good that's happening. There was a little bit of a misunderstanding, I guess. Televangelist Joel Osteen canceled services at his Houston megachurch Sunday, has yet to reopen its doors despite the fact that thousands of flooded out residents are desperately needing shelter. He tweeted out yesterday, Jesus promises us peace and passes understanding. That's peace when it doesn't make sense. Then people blasted him on Twitter. You have taken so much money away from your people to live like a king. It's the least you could do. Now, the church is saying they never closed the doors. That's what they're saying right now. We never closed our doors, according to a spokesman for the church. We will continue to be a distribution center to those in need. We are prepared to house people. Once shelters reach capacity, Lakewood will be a value to the community in the aftermath of the storm. And they're also saying that people have no access to the church because it's surrounded by water. So I don't know. Some people are already trying to politicize this. Obviously, CNN, they all do. All the networks, they politicize things. Ted Cruz was on MSNBC talking to Katie Tur. And apparently he voted against the relief for Superstorm Sandy. And she tried to give him a gotcha question. And then he explained what it was really all about. Here he is.
When I grow up, I want to be in a garden for the whole world.
And they're pointing at you for Sandy after that came out that you voted. You're doing everything you can out there. But a lot of people are pointing out that you voted against aid for Sandy after that catastrophic storm up in the Northeast, that package back in 2012. And they're pointing at you and saying you're asking for money now when you weren't willing to help the people in the Northeast. What do you have to say to them?
Well, look, there's time for political sniping later. I think our focus needs to be on this crisis.
Senator. These are people who needed money and who needed funding right after that storm. I covered those people. Many of them, just like those in Houston, lost absolutely everything they owned.
Well, Katie, of course that's right. And the accurate thing to say is that I and a number of others enthusiastically and emphatically supported hurricane relief. The hurricane relief and disaster relief has been a vital federal role for a long, long time. And it
now listen real carefully. You may remember this if you were paying attention.
Should continue. The problem with that particular bill is it became a $50 billion bill that was filled with unrelated pork. 2/3 of that bill had nothing to do with Sandy. And what I said then and still believe now is that it's not right for politicians to exploit a disaster and people are hurting to pay for their own political wish list. Disaster relief needs to be focused on the victims of disaster relief, and I supported that for Sandy, disaster relief there, and I would support that anywhere there's a major disaster without getting distracted by political unnecessary pork spending.
Yep, and that's what it was all about. $50 billion of crap. And I mean, that's as bad as politicizing something. When you use it as a convenient excuse to get your name on a bridge, or whatever. Unbelievable. By the way, a sociology professor at the University of Tampa published a tweet on Sunday. His name is Kenneth Story. He politicized the storm, saying basically that Texas residents deserve the death and destruction because Texas went for Trump. He quotes, I don't believe in instant karma, but this kind of feels like it for Texas. Hopefully this will help them realize the GOP doesn't care about them. When another Twitter user responded that Texas is home to good people, and you might want to rethink that tweet, he doubled down. He says, well, the good people there need to go do more to stop the evil their state pushes. I'm only blaming those who support the GOP there. By the way, he has since deleted the Hurricane Harvey related tweets, and he also appears to have dramatically altered his Twitter presence. He used to have 72,700 tweets, now just a few of them. Who has time to do 72,000 tweets? I mean, I've got a Twitter account, a few thousand followers at Rob Carson. I think in the 5 years that I've had it, I've put out 3,000 tweets, and that's doing a lot. 72,000? Unreal. Oh, another negative. Apparently there's some price gouging going on. In Houston, TV crew from a station in Austin showed up, and they wanted to get a hotel at the Texas Best Western, 20 miles from Corpus Christi. Now, they had been told that the two queen bed room was $120 and $149 a night. Well, apparently they decided to jack up the rate to $321 a night. They cried foul. Eventually, the clerk admitted the room rates were much higher than usual. Weekends start at $149. Sometimes we start at $189. The clerk said, and they asked why are you charging so much? It's because people are calling to take rooms. I don't have control of the price. So he's a clerk, whatever. Now, some other things that are happening. 500 complaints of price gouging have been lodged with the Texas Attorney General's office, including $99 cases of bottled water and gas at $10 a gallon. Hotels tripling or quadrupling their price. The Attorney General, Ken Paxton, said these things you don't do in Texas. There are significant penalties if you price gouge in a crisis like this. And, of course, the parent company is saying that in advance of the storm, we proactively advised hotels on prohibitions against price gouging, communicated our position as a brand, blah, 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 blah. So they're denying it. But there's a lot of that going on. A little bit of negative. It happens in every storm. Trust me. I was in Missouri in 1993 when there was flooding. And they actually had to pass a legislation to prevent it from happening. But let's not let it overshadow the good that's happening there. Okay. So let's move on to the next segment of the show, which is things that are going to be banned or are being banned or removed from the public square. Apparently, Bill de Blasio, he's put together this panel of people who are going to review monuments in the city and decide whether they should be removed or not, including a Christopher Columbus statue in Columbus Circle. Apparently, a lot of people are upset about it, and so he has tempered his verbiage about it. He says, I think there's been a misunderstanding of what options could be utilized. There's more than one way to address this. I don't think anyone should leap to any conclusions. He's suggesting they could put a plaque that offers explanations of the historical figures they depict. So kind of a disclaimer, I guess. The mayor has refused to comment on specific statues, except for one who was a marker for a French Nazi collaborator, Henri Philippe Pétain, in the city's financial Canyon of Heroes. That one's going to go. So a flood of complaints had led elected officials to criticize the mayor for not setting the criteria for removal at the outset. They're going to leave it to the panel to decide the parameters for removal, as well as a set of standards for whom should be honored going forward. I don't know. It's unseemly. Here's a story of the Catholic school facing backlash for removing religious statues, including of the Virgin Mary and Jesus, at a Catholic school. Apparently, it's over concerns that they were alienating prospective students. It's a Catholic school. The head of the San Domenico school in San Anselmo said parents of the protected students who visited the campus, which was founded in 1850, expressed concern about the religious figures, according to the Marin Independent Journal. Unbelievable. It's a Catholic school. Quote, if you walk on the campus and the first thing you confront is 3 or 4 statues of St. Dominic or St. Francis, could be alienating for that other religion And we didn't want to further that feeling. I thought when you were in Catholic school, you had to go to Mass and everything. I did when I went third grade. Over the last few years, we've had fewer Catholic students as part of the community and a larger number of students of various faith traditions. Right now, about 80% of our families do not identify as Catholic. Okay? An official who described the institution as California's oldest independent school and first Catholic school told Fox News a large number of religious statues were recently relocated to other parts of the school campus and were donated to appreciative recipients. I've got a St. Francis statue in front of my house. Now, some people are mad about it. Parent Shannon Fitzpatrick, who has an 8-year-old enrolled there, said the movement of the statues represents what she believes is a steady erosion of the Santo Domenico Catholic image. Articulating an inclusive foundation appears to mean letting go of San Domenico's 167-year tradition as the Dominican Catholic school and being both afraid and ashamed to celebrate one's heritage and beliefs. And that's what I take from it. I mean, how can you be ashamed of the baby Jesus and the Virgin Mary as a Catholic school? Makes no sense. Makes no sense. Oh, apparently the Maryland state anthem will no longer play at University of Maryland sporting events. No longer going to play. It's called Maryland, My Maryland, the official state song of Maryland, because of its ties with the Confederacy, I guess. All right. The song is a 9-verse war poem put to music. It was used as a pro-Confederate battle hymn. Talks of spurning the northern scum, by the way, in the words. I'll read some of the lyrics to it in just a second here. One student said, Chris Rogers said, to be honest, I don't even know what the tune is. I'd be more upset if they didn't play the fight song, I think. Another student said they didn't think people would even notice. University spokesperson said, as part of the university's efforts to reaffirm our values as a campus community, we are assessing the songs that are played by at intercollegiate athletic events. We are suspending the playing of Maryland, My Maryland, to evaluate if it's consistent with the values of our institution at this time. Another student, Monica Alston, says, I think it's a little absurd to what links people are going to. They're going to ban songs. They're going to ban everything. Wow. Oh, my gosh. Cheyenne Jones says it makes more sense than trying to change the lyrics to an old song anyway. Governor Hogan has pushed back against any efforts to change the state song. Starting in 2015, he did that. I don't know. I'm reading the song. It's just not a good song. It's not a good song. I mean, here's some of the lyrics to the song. The despot's heel is on thy shore, Maryland, my Maryland, avenge the patriotic gore that flecked the streets of Baltimore and the battle queen of yore. It's a bad song. Thou wilt not cower in the dust. Thy beaming sword shall never rust. Remember Carroll's sacred trust. Remember Howard's warlike thrust. He said thrust. And all the slumberers with the just. Here's some more. Maryland, my Maryland, come with thy panoplied array, with Ringgold's spirit for the fray, with Watson's blood at Monterey, with fearless Lowe and dashing May. This is just, oh my Lord. Accented by my computer. Oh, yeah, here's the end. I hear the distant thunder hum, the old lines bugle, fife, and drum. She is not dead, nor deaf, nor dumb. Huzzah, she spurns the northern scum. She breathes, she burns, she'll come, she'll come. Guess that happens when the battle thrust happens. I don't know. Tennessee is going to actually remove a memorial that I agree with. Removing, actually. And that is apparently, and this is a Republican governor to do this, Confederate cavalry general and KKK leader Nathan Bedford Forrest from the state capitol building. And this makes sense. By the way, the bust was put up in 1978. Who decided that was a good idea? In 1970, hey, let's go ahead and let's memorialize the guy who created the KKK. Forrest amassed a fortune as a plantation owner and slave trader in Memphis before the Civil War. 1978, they put that sucker up. Oh. Now the national anthem is what they're going after next. You know the national anthem you stand for? If you're not Colin Kaepernick or some members of the Browns football team. You know, it's that thing that you get goosebumps and you tear up, and then the jets fly over at the football game or wherever you are. It's pretty cool. Salon, which is a very left-of-center media outlet, has declared the Star-Spangled Banner a neo-Confederate elevated song as a way of honoring Southern slave owners' rebellion. So that's what they're saying about it. Now, this website also hailed Venezuela as an economic miracle. Francis Scott Key, of course, wrote the Star-Spangled Banner 19 years before President Jackson appointed him to the federal government in the, I believe he was in the Supreme Court. Yeah. So he apparently was a slave owner and a dabbling poet. But they're saying that it's a neo-Confederate symbol. They also say it's difficult to sing as well as boastful and bloodthirsty. Oh, and CNN, by the way, put up a disclaimer, a trigger warning, I guess, said basically warning people, you are about to hear the national anthem. Now, apparently this video shows kids singing and waving American flags. There are proud veterans and have their hands over their heart at the end. There's it makes you tear up. Well, apparently CNN is saying that it was a mistake by an employee. And he's saying it because they put the warning up because it's not the whole anthem. It's just part of the anthem. And they wanted to give people the warning that, hey, this is an edited version, so don't be offended if you think that, we're cutting it on purpose. Anyway, whatever. Oh, I got a new sponsor. New sponsor for the show, actually, because you know what? What are they going to do? What are they going to do with all of these monuments, these statues, their busts? I have an idea. Here it is.
There's a new movement sweeping the country, removing monuments and statues that are deemed offensive. But that means you can have awesome lawn ornamentia you never thought possible. At Solo, suddenly offensive lawn ornamentia, you can have statues of Civil War generals, Confederate presidents, and that's not all. Suddenly, all sorts of monuments are now offensive and must be removed from the public square, and that means great savings for you. You can have a bust of Christopher Columbus for pennies on the dollar. Lewis and Clark trail markers would look great near your koi pond. Abraham Lincoln, somebody probably finds him offensive, so put him near your fire pit. Robert E. Lee, Andrew Jackson, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson are all going for rock-bottom prices. We could melt them down, but you can put them in your yard.
All right, back it up. Hey, congratulations on your Teddy Roosevelt bird bath.
Solo, suddenly offensive lawn ornamentia. New branches opening up every day across the country.
There you go. All right, so there's an idea. Entrepreneurs everywhere could get a pretty kick-butt statue for the lawn. Might have to get that by the HOA, though. Might have to get that by the HOA. Oh, another thing being banned is words. Apparently, there's a bill in California that could imprison people for calling someone the wrong pronoun. I don't know if you've heard about this. So if somebody wants to be called, I don't know, he, she, they, us, them, whatever, anyway, they could make this a crime. Here's Tucker explaining why it's so dangerous.
It's about all of LGBT rights.
Oh, by the way, that's a guy named Robin Biro, who is an LGBT activist.
Being included in the Patient's Bill of Rights.
I'm sure there are lots of things I would agree with in the bill. And just to be totally clear, I think you should call people what they want to be called. I think you should be polite to people, and I try to be. But there's a principle at stake here that you're ignoring for political reasons, and I'm a little surprised that you are. And that is a really simple one. It's called free speech, and you have the right to express your view. And if other people don't like it, they don't like it. But you can't be put in prison for saying what you think is true. And this bill seems to ignore that longstanding right that we've enjoyed. And I find it terrifying for that reason.
Yeah, there's a lot of speech being banned on campuses. Over the weekend, there was an Antifa rally. There was a pro-Trump rally. It wasn't a Nazi group rally. And thousands of Antifa protesters showed up. The police backed away, and a bunch of the people, the marchers who were originally there, got beaten up pretty bad. Here's a little audio of the Antifa if you have any question about their political leanings.
No Trump, no wall, no USA.
Okay, so no Trump, no war, no USA at all, which doesn't rhyme. I mean, I thought they were all rhymey and everything. I mean, I'm glad they moved on from the hey, hey, ho, ho, Donald Trump has got to go, that kind of stuff. It is, but you generally want to rhyme. Yeah, that's the way I think. But there is a movement right now to call someone else's speech, maybe it's political speech, to call them white supremacists or call them Nazis. And then they're saying that you can be beaten up you can beat up or even kill Nazis. Well, this is dangerous because they're calling people who aren't Nazis. Yes, there were Nazis in Charlottesville. I hate them. I hate them. They're awful people. But if they are gathering to speak, you got to let them do it. Here's a little more from Tucker Carlson and his interview with Robin Bureau about calling someone the wrong gender pronoun a crime.
And I knew you were going to say that. I will contend that these are our employees. They are regulated by they already have a patient's bill of rights that addresses some of these. What's left out are protections for the LGBT community. They are already, let's look at this, Tucker, if you will. The elderly community is already a marginalized community. But think about the fact if you are LGBT or even like the worst, transgender, they're probably the most disenfranchised. They are the most vulnerable. And I want to say this, just consider, if you will, I myself am openly gay. Say 30 years from now, I've been in a relationship for a couple decades and this bill wasn't in place. It would deny my partner the ability to come and visit me because a nurse might have a problem with it.
No, but again, you're skirting the point that I'm making.
Yeah, he just went around the whole free speech thing there to something completely different. Here's a wrap-up on this, where this guy is equating calling someone the wrong gender pronoun as abuse.
Because elder abuse is inherently wrong, and I will read the bill. It says...
No, slow down. Speech is not abuse.
No, I'm talking about abuse. This is, understand this, misusing someone's pronoun is abuse. We see all the time people do this as a form of abuse. I follow the alt-right blogs where they call Michelle Obama a man. That is abusive.
Should they go to jail for that?
Should not be accepted.
Should they go to jail for that?
But if it's done in a medical thing, what constituted Tucker, is prolonged, continuous, intentional abuse by a healthcare provider. That is abuse. That should be criminal.
Okay. If you're talking about speech in the workplace, you don't have free speech in the workplace. You do not. I don't. When I work at a radio station, no free speech. No. There's things you cannot say on the radio. There are things that will get you in trouble. There are things that will get you fired. They won't get you arrested. They won't get you arrested. Dangerous stuff. You watch the Floyd Mayweather Conor McGregor fight for $100 for the pay-per-view. You can watch it for $20 at the movie theater, I guess. They are estimating that 2.93 million people watched the 10-round match on social media channels, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, through 239 streams. That's amazing. That's amazing. If you got it for free, you could be in trouble, by the way. Apparently, they have some sort of a embedded code in the broadcast, and they apparently may be able to track you down. So if you watched it for free, you may get billed and you may get a fine. Oh, and did you watch the Game of Thrones finale? I watched it last night with my wife. I don't get the show. It's just boring as hell to me. 33 million viewers altogether is what they're saying, and this is much higher than it normally is. Season 6 is 31 million viewers, and this season, 33 million viewers. So a lot of people are watching it. All right, time for me to get out of here, guys. I want to thank again our sponsors, fountainoflifecairo.com, fountainoflifecairo.com. Dr. Alex Nelson, if you need an adjustment. By the way, if you're a military member or veteran or family member, $30 adjustments. How's that? And then, of course, Grass Monsters KC. GrassMonstersKC.com, 5520 Raytown Road, Raytown, Missouri. Download this podcast on iTunes. Just look for Rob Carson Show. God bless. See you soon. Back here for number 158 coming up.
Thanks for listening to The Rob Carson Show. Friend him on Facebook at Carson Show, on Twitter at Rob Carson, and on Instagram. I think Facebook and Twitter are enough for now. We'll see you soon.